welcome to another live session with the Tunisian Crochet Graphghan Boutique. I'm Jessica, the group owner, and I'm sure Erica will be joining us here shortly. I'll give everybody a few minutes to pop on, because I know it takes a minute for everybody to get the notifications that we've gone live. We've had a lot of questions about the hooks and the cows and things that are going on, and there's going to be some exciting things going on here in February. Hi, Linda. We are going to have 2 hook giveaways in February. We are going to have another crochet along coming up. We will be showcasing a whole new stitch for the non-curling borders, so I'm excited for that. And there will be a video tutorial, and it'll walk you through everything that you need to know. My phone is sliding. Hi, Gloria. So I'm excited about that too. Yeah, we'll be learning a whole new stitch, and so that'll be neat. This is something that's going to be super easy. It's not something that you're really going to have to pay a lot of attention to. It's something that once you get it, you got it. Hi, Valerie. So that's going to be exciting. What else do we have going on? I see that a few of you have done the January challenge, which was a beginner-friendly pot holder dishcloth thing, and that is coming out nice. Hi, April. Yeah, so the January challenge is coming out nice. I see a few people are working on that. Hi, Kimberly. So, I know that we got a lot of new members too. Is there any questions so far? I know that we've had a few questions about hooks, and we did talk about them in the live last week, but I know that there's probably some more questions floating around, so feel free to pop on and ask them. Another thing that we were talking about was, Valerie said, we'll have to get on when my niece comes to the car. I'll be driving. Yeah, you can't be driving and doing this. The replay will be up later, Valerie, and you could catch that in our albums. There's an album that says past lives, so once this is done, it'll be, the link will be over there. Somebody had asked about hooks, and we talked in length about the different kind of hooks, and somebody was talking about preferences. Now, I think one of the big preferences when you purchase a hook set is to know whether you like inline or tapered, because if you do not like inline and you buy an inline set, there's a chance that it's going to be a waste of money and you're really not going to like it. And the same goes for the opposite. I like tapered, so the inline hooks that I have, I don't use them. But it is nice to have them because I teach, and some of my students, actually all of my students, get to try out the hooks. So that way they're investing in something that they already know that they like. Hi, Gail. So, that should help you guys in making your decision. And if you're not sure if a set of hooks is inline or tapered, and you're looking at them and you want to buy them, but you're not sure, you know, you can always pop in here and we'll let you know. Because between Erica and I, we pretty much own I think just about every set out there. So, do we have any questions? Is there anything you guys are struggling with? Is there something you guys would like to see in the group that you're not seeing, or something that you can't find because maybe you're having trouble navigating around the group? Anything like that, let me know, and we'll see if we can get you some help. What else? Let's see. I do know that we had talked about Hobby Lobby, and they have a DK yarn, and it's called Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek DK Low. It's a low pill fiber. And I know everything is backwards for you guys. Hi, Lisa. I will be working with this on one of the cows that we're going to be doing here. Excuse me, I am very fidgety today. I have had a very physical day, so I'm a little sore. But yeah, we're going to be working with this on one of the cows, and I will have all of the math and how much you need and everything else all figured out. And that too is going to be including the new stitch and the new video for all of that, for that stitch. And like I said, this stitch that we're going to be using is going to be something that once you do 3 or 4 rows in a swatch, you're going to be really familiar with it. And it's one of the things too, you know, we've had a lot of people that are like, oh, you know, I can't tell if I've purled a stitch, or, you know, using the honeycomb stitch. This is one of the things too, that once you do a row or two, you're going to be able to notice, after you get a few rows done, you're going to be able to get the knowledge of what you're looking for in the stitch, to make sure that you didn't mess up. It's just like the honeycomb. It's going to be a 2-stitch repeat, so we are going to need, the count for this is going to be 2. But since your loop on the hook creates a nice clean edge, the last stitch that we do in this 2-stitch pattern is not super clean unless we add a TSS at the end. So we're ultimately going to be working with an odd number, because we're going to have to add one at the end. We're going to have to add a TSS at the end and then work the final stitch. Hi, Angela. Gloria says, I think I'll try that Hobby Lobby yarn for the shawl. I think it's going to work up super, super soft in the shawl. I have done much frogging and testing and trying different hooks and seeing some things. So, like I said, I definitely will have how much yardage you're going to need and everything else. And before we start it, we're probably going to do a poll to see what sizes people are kind of looking for. And there's also going to be directions on how to increase this. So if you want a rectangle shawl that's a little bit bigger, or you want something that's a little bit smaller, like not as long, you know, we're going to be showing how to change your stitch count and everything. So if you're using a different kind of yarn, it's all going to be in there. Let's see, what else do we have up here? Hey, April says, I want to give the baubles a try. Looks very similar to regular crochet bauble cluster stitches. My question is there a certain way to graph out a word or image? If you wanted a graph of the words, the bauble images will work. So, like, I don't have one next to me. If you have a bauble graph, what happens is in between each bauble you have a row, like for single crochet or the popcorn stitches, any of those. So if you have the letter B, you'll have popcorn space, because you're doing a row of single crochet in between. You are going to have that in Tunisian crochet as well, but you're reading the graph from right to left, which is the only difference if you're right-handed, because if you have a single crochet or a popcorn graph and you want to use that, what happens is in regular crochet, when you make your bauble, you're kind of making it on the back side, so when you flip your work over you can see it. For regular crochet, in bauble stitch for Tunisian, you're always working on the front, so it's going to pop out on the front, so you're going to read the chart from right to left. Whereas in single crochet or regular crochet, if you have a written pattern, you're going to read those rows backwards, because you're flipping your work and then working the bauble, and it comes out on the opposite side. I hope that makes sense, April. If you have another question, if it didn't make sense, then just pop it in here. Bye, Valerie. Gloria said, this little sampler I'm doing is helping me with recognizing the stitches. I'm on the third block row. I'm really liking it. Yes, I do like the samplers because it does open you up to new stitches. And it's kind of a big thing. When you learn a new stitch, you kind of work a row, and especially if it's like a 2-row repeat or whatever, and you look at your work, and just like, when I spoke of the honeycomb, when you're first working it, you're like, was that a purl stitch below? Was that a TSS below? How do I tell the difference? It does take a few minutes, just like single crochet, double crochet. It takes a few minutes, and there's several like little games that you can see on a bunch of sites. I did one not long ago, and it was like, can you recognize this stitch? Can you get so many of them right? And that's kind of the same thing with Tunisian, is after you do a couple, you'll actually be able to recognize your stitches better and know what it is. Hi, Kathleen. Gloria said, that's exciting. I can't wait. I think it's going to be exciting. Hi, Wesleyan. I'm super excited to get it started. April said, that's exactly what I was wondering. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad that made sense. We did have another question come up in here. It was about copyright. A friend of mine that lives by me is a member of a crochet group, and the designer asked for people to put in their personal art. Now, this is something that you have drawn or created on your own. They are using this chart to make a graph. Okay. Now, this designer is not making the friend of mine sign any paperwork for this artwork. So, my friend asked me if she can go and actually use her design for anything else. And the funny thing about that is she has gone and bought a graphing program and is now going to design this as a graph as well as this other group. So my thing for a few people that I've talked to is if you're, most designers that I know, if they're doing a custom piece, like a photographic piece, you're not going to be able to resell that design because unless it's like a celebrity or something, a lot of people are not going to go in and they're going, you know, they're not going to buy your family member's image. So for that, you know, that's completely different. If you've drawn an image, or like I think it's Artfire and stuff like that, people have fan art and stuff on there. If you're going to graph that, you actually have to go get permission from that person. And for me, that whole permission slope, I think, gets a little bit slippery because if you've drawn something and a designer wants to make it into a design and they're not having you sign something or discuss with you that, you know, you can't take this to another designer and get it graphed, I think for me anyway, it gets a little slippery. And that's kind of what's going on with a friend of mine. She's actually you know, put in fan art, something she drew, into a group, and the designer picked it, and they're going to make it into a graph for, it's not Tunisian or regular crochet, it's a different kind of graph for fillet kind of work. And now this person's has went out and bought the design software, and she's going to design it and also sell it. So it's raised a little bit of discussion in a few places about, you know, what you have to sign and what can go on with your artwork. And unfortunately, like I said, I think it's a little bit of a slippery slope there. Hi, Shonda. So how many of you, we're probably going to do a poll in here as well to see how many of you actually have a Hobby Lobby by you, because since we're going to use the DK weight for the shawl that we're going to be doing, or what kind of DK weight you like, I think that's going to help us decide all that. So, but yeah, I think for us, me anyway, I'm going to be using, for the DK, I'm going to be using the Soft and Sleek, and this is a Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee yarn. And I will talk, hi Lisa, I will discuss, hi Sharon, I will discuss how to change gauge to make it bigger or smaller or whatever you need. Linda said the whole Baby Yoda craze. It's kind of like that, but Yoda is a registered character, where this is fan art of something that's not a registered character. Kathleen says, I have a Hobby Lobby near me. Good. Yeah, I want to make sure that a bunch of people have access to a DK weight yarn. I'm going to have to pop into Michael's and Joann's and see what kind of DK weight they have. But I seem to be, I went in and I felt this yarn and I really like it. They have a few different colors. I think I might be using the red. They have a red, and I think that this would be fantastic because our school colors are red and black. Hi Erica. Our school colors are red and black, and they're going to be doing a fundraiser here in April, so we will have plenty of time to do this, have it done, and have it blocked and have it put in for the fundraiser. Shonda says she has a Hobby Lobby close to her too. Gloria said she has one. Linda says, I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me. I have a Michaels, or I can order it online from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, I've never ordered anything from Hobby Lobby online, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. There's other yarns that you can substitute, and I will give some information on that. And like I said, if you can't get the Hobby Lobby, you know, don't panic that, oh my god, I can't get this weight yarn, because I will give a few options for sizing and gauge so that you can change it out if you need be. Or, oh my gosh, I found this yarn and it is perfect, but the gauge isn't matching and I don't know how to do it. So that's going to work out too. Cheryl says, I'm looking to do another Tunisian Afghan. I'm just not sure which one. Some of the samplers are coming out really cute, Cheryl. Chandra said, I have 3 nearby. Oh, aren't you lucky? 3 Hobby Lobbies nearby. Sharon says she has a Hobby Lobby, a Joann's, and a Michael's. Yeah, I'm going to pop into Joann's and Michael's, and I will see. Hi, Lisa. I will see what they have as far as DK goes, but I'm also going to talk about how to change your gauge. We will be doing a new stitch for the border that's going to be super easy to follow along with. It's going to be very beginner friendly, but it's going to look like an advanced pattern. We are going to be using the Tunisian knit stitch in part of this, in the center part of the shawl, so I'm super excited about this. And like I said, I've been playing around with this for a while. Erica said, I think you have to order in 3s at Hobby Lobby like Michael's. I'm thinking 3 may be enough, but I've got some math to do. April said, love the 40% coupon for Hobby Lobby. It was really a kick in the pants when they bumped up the price of I love this yarn. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed about that too, although the quality of the yarn is good, so I can't complain. But I seem to go in when they have their 30% off every other week, and that's when I stock up on stuff that I need. Hi, Beverly. Yeah, so let's see, what else? Yeah, so I'm super excited about the Tunisian cow. This is going to be released the beginning of next month. I will have like I said, everything's going to be super beginner friendly. Linda said, so I order 6 and have extra for other things. Yeah, or if you want the shawl bigger or smaller, that's going to depend too. We are going to be releasing a video about what to look for in a graph. We've had a lot of questions about that and what broken lines and everything else are. And I probably will talk about the copyright in there as well. Not so much as in, you know, Disney characters or whatever, because y'all know that's how copyright works. But it's personal sketches and stuff like that. And, you know, once you release that picture or enter it into a giveaway, you know, like I said, the questions have come up is, does the designer now own it? There's usually paperwork that you fill out for that will say, you know, you give the designer permission to use this and that they can sell the picture. But like I said, this situation that arose is more that, but then she's going to go and design it herself on site so that she can sell it as well. So, like I said, those kind of things kind of get slippery. It's a, you know, and it's one of them things too, you know, it's something that's popular. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Hi, Kelly. So, yeah, those videos will be coming up shortly. What else do we have going on? The hooks. I'm hoping that Furls, I need to check their website again. I haven't been on this week to see when their other Tunisian hooks are coming out. I did buy the small ones to try them out for small projects. These are the small ones that you would use for a pillow or something small. And I did a review of these in the group. So I'm kind of excited for the other ones to come out that are not going to have the metal band. That seems to be catching the yarn some on it. So I definitely will be getting those once they release them on the Furl site. Do we have any questions so far? Any questions about the tea cow? It's going to be a rectangle shawl is the one we're going to be doing first. And that one, that's going to be released. And then let me move my paperwork. The triangle shawl that is the one that's done in Scarfy. It's upside down. The directions for this one are going to be coming out too. And there will be a video tutorial for that one too. Hi Cece. So yeah, I'm super excited about both of them coming out and getting released. The Scarfy one is going to be super easy to follow along with too, and I think that's the nice thing about these is they're going to be very beginner friendly, but they're not going to look like they're beginner at all. They're going to look a little bit more advanced, but don't get scared. This is not hard. This is, you know, the rectangle one that we're doing is pretty much mind-numbing. Once you get the first few rows down with this new stitch that we're going to do, and like I said, there's going to be a video tutorial. It's going to be super easy. And if any of you, and I know a bunch of you have done the Graphghans or watched any of the videos where we've talked about incorporating your border, that non-curling border, that's kind of what we're going to be doing with this. So once you get the first few rows of the border done and you move up, you're going to have a border on the right side and a border on the left side, and you're going to be working a pattern stitch in the middle. And then it's going to be super easy. It's going to be very mind-numbing. This is one of the things that really, the only thing you got to do is if you want to, use a stitch marker where your border ends on the right side and where it starts on the left side. And then the middle is going to be super easy. If you count when you cast on and you count when you cast off, then you'll be perfect. So I think that, hi Sissy, I think that's going to be super easy. And like I said, this one, especially this one with the yarn bee, I'm really liking how this is working up. I really like the lines. I really like how clean it looks. I like the fact that it looks sophisticated and complicated, but it's not going to be. It's one of the things that, you know, I'm going to have you guys do a small swatch, and I know there's going to be a few of you that are just going to dive in and be like, I'm just going to do this. But once you do this stitch a couple times, you're going to be like, okay, I got this. Hi, Laura. Yeah, so, does anybody have any questions? The the shawl that we're going to be using, I would recommend having the cabled hooks. We are, excuse me, we are not going to have a ton of stitches cast on like in a Graphghan, but the cabled hooks being lightweight, and we're going to have about 130 stitches cast on, so you probably can do it with the small fixed hooks. As if you had like a 14-inch one, you could do it. I don't recommend cramming stitches on those though, because what happens is when you cram so many stitches on, it stretches out your TSS or your Tunisian knit stitch or whatever that's on the hook. It kind of stretches it out so your gauge isn't as even through the whole project. I have noticed that in a couple of my students' work that have been local. They were like, well, I can't afford this hook. I can't afford a set. So I'm just going to cram everything on there. And I noticed their gauge has been different. And that is where I would say, you know what? If you don't have the money to invest in a whole set, you can always invest in a hook and a cable. It's cheaper. But ultimately, you know, the Knitter's Pride Tunisian Dream set really is not that expensive. If you save, you know, you can order them in 2 or 3 months. Gloria said, I love my ginger set so much I can't imagine using anything else anymore. I do like that set. I've taken it out and I've used it, but I've been using the other ones, the Knitter's Pride Dream set, because I have them on hand, and that's what I was using to do all the gauge swatching and everything else for this before I received my Knitter's Pride Ginger set for Christmas. And I'm kind of excited. I'm very excited, actually, about using it. The only thing that, for me, I did not understand, and I still don't understand with it, is why the stitch markers that are included with it, they are completely closed, which is what's used for knitting. Maybe they don't exactly know how Tunisian works, or I don't know. They kind of lost me there. But other than that, I'm really excited about this set, and I like the fact that it has a pattern holder too. And I really like it. I do wish too that the cables were color coded, like the Knitter's Pride Dream set. Some of them are color coded, some of them are not. You can get them with black cables. When I order my sets, I try to look for the ones that are colored, because for me, I've done it so long that I know exactly what color I'm reaching for, what length it is. Gloria said, yes, I couldn't figure that either. I bought them before joining this group and just got lucky picking a good set. You did pick a fantastic set. Actually, my set that I got, my husband didn't even know what to buy. He just went on and started Googling and like, what's the best set to get? And he got these, and I'm super glad that he did, because he didn't ask me. And I was like, he's like, oh, I bought you a set. And I thought, oh, please don't buy me a set that I already have, or a set that's in line, because I really don't want to break his heart and have to send him back. But he did good. Um, so, do we have any questions so far? And like I said, we will be doing a poll in the group for those that are going to be participating in the TCAL. And actually, I am probably going to do a swatch sneak peek. I have a swatch made up, and I'm probably going to do a sneak peek into the group so that you guys can see it, and we'll go from there, because at this point, it's just a pattern. I don't even have a name for it yet. I have all these great ideas and no name, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do something in the group where we can do something where everybody can get involved and give a few names, and then we'll vote on names, and from there maybe the person that's name gets the most votes, we can do a Rhea cake or something to like that. Linda said my go-to hook is a K. I'm hoping it will work. This is DK weight, so this is thinner than the regular worsted weight yarn. I don't even have any worsted weight around me. Let's see. This is think. Okay, here we go. This is the DK. Let's see if I can get close enough to the camera with these. And this is a worsted weight from Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. So as you can see, this is much thinner. So this one calls for a, oh, I just seen it, a 4.5 millimeter hook. So, good Lord, all of these numbers. So, oh, it looks like half the size. Yeah, it's calling for the 4.5 millimeter, which is a US, it's a 7. So I have gauged with an H and an I, and that's where we're going to get into your gauge swatch and the type of crocheter you are too. April says, is it possible to do the gauge for the pattern before you put it out to figure out what size hook we will need? I don't have the cable set and I can't get one yet, but I might be able to buy at least one. Oh my, what is my phone doing? There we go. I might be able to buy at least one for the project. Yes, there will be a gauge. Good Lord. My hooks are falling out of my case when I shake it like that. Yes, there's going to be a gauge discussed and everything else before the pattern gets released. Letter. A 4.5 millimeter is actually a 7. There is no letter for a 4.5 millimeter. It's in between a G and an H. But we are probably going to be using the H or the I. I am kind of liking the I, but we're gonna see. Because right before this pattern comes out, I am going to have a couple of the girls in the group that are mods test out a few rows and see what everybody else comes out with, and then we'll go from there to see a few things. And we might actually do a couple people in the group as well and say, hey, if you're interested in testing out these few rows to see what their gauge is as well. So that would be perfect. Sweet, that works for perfect. It will take time because I have to order it online. Yeah, April, there's going to be plenty of time. We're not going to release anything in here with a rush. We never do. Every one of our decals that ends up up for a long time, at least 2 years. There's no big rush to do anything here. So yeah, the DK weight is much thinner. So, and the stitch that we're using in the beginning, if you remember, a lot of us were using a I hook for the honeycomb on our Graphghans, and then using the J for the TSS because we're mixing the two. And that's one of the things that I'm really playing around with, is what size hook I can do this with without having to use 2 different hooks. Is what size is going to give me the border stitch and the center stitch without having to change hooks, because I know, hi Melinda, I know how many of us have started a project, and if you do the honeycomb on our blankets, has gotten into it and been like, oh crap, now I forgot to change hooks, so now I gotta frog back to my border. Or some of us is just like, you know what, I don't care. So I want this to be a 1 hook project that we don't have to go and use 2 different hooks. And since the stitch has like a 2 stitch count, repeat for the pattern, and then we're changing it up, we're definitely going to be, I want this as easy as possible. So that way we're not going to have to change hook sizes. We're going to find one that works for the border and the center piece. So, do we have any questions so far? And like I said, everybody, there will be plenty of advanced knowledge on what size hook you need, what's going on, what stitch we're doing. It'll give you guys an opportunity to practice the stitch with regular worsted weight yarn and, you know, the J or K hook that you like, and practice and be like, okay, you know what, I got the stitch down, now I can start on the pattern. Or you can do the swatch in your yarn that you want to use and go from there. Linda, you rock. Thank you. Alright guys, if we don't have any other questions, let's see. Gloria said, oh shoot, I've used the same hook for the border and sampler blocks on my blanket. I guess I'll see how it turns out, not frogging. It's for me anyway. That's the thing, Gloria, is that I've noticed is a lot of the samplers, since you're using different stitches across, it kind of works out. Where the honeycomb, I have done a bunch of them. If you do the honeycomb and you're just using the TSS in the center, it flares out at the end because the purl stitch is just a pinch wider. So what it does is it causes your ends to kind of come out like this, and then you've got the TSS that pulls it in. So actually on your sampler, you should be perfect. April, totally off topic, but I love your sweater. I'm a sucker for thumbhole sleeves. I am too. It's terrible. I look at clothes and I'm like, oh, I really like this. It's got thumbhole sleeves. Oh, it's going in a buggy. I got these at Sam's Club. So, I was excited. So, yeah, I kind of am a sucker for them because my hands are always cold. So, Gloria said, okay, thanks. Yeah, Gloria, it's going to work out because you're using the different stitches and they have different widths, and it's going to not be as pulled in as if you were doing TSS all the way across. So you'll be fantastic. Do we have any questions? If not, I am going to start to wrap up. There will be polls in the group here coming up for the T-Cows to get some input on a few things, like do you have a Hobby Lobby near you, what DK weight yarn you like to use, and I'm trying to think. There's going to be a couple. You're not going to get bombarded that there's going to be a poll every day, but there's going to be a couple, and that feedback is really going to help us with the T-Cow. Melinda said she's a sucker for the thumb holes too. Good. I thought maybe I was a rarity. All right, guys. Hi, Bonnie. So, if there's no more questions, please, please, please put input in the polls when you see them. Bonnie said, sorry, I fell asleep. No worries. You're allowed to fall asleep. You work hard. And you're up all the time. So, yeah. Please put your comments and your poll answers on there, because that feedback helps with the T-Cow, and it helps with what you guys want to see in the group, and it helps us to know we're going in the right direction or we're going in the wrong direction. So please, your input is what makes the group great and keeps it that way. So I hope that you all have a fantastic evening. If you guys need anything else and you comment under here, you comment in the group, somebody will answer you. So, and it's a teaching group, so don't be afraid to ask something, because it's been asked a million times. This is a teaching group. There's not a lot out there for Tunisian, and that's why I started the group, is because I remember what it's like when I first learned, and trying to find stuff was really hard. So it's really important to us that you feel comfortable here, and if you have questions, please ask, and they will get answered. And thank you guys all for joining me this evening. I really appreciate you joining me for the lives, and Erica and I appreciate it. Linda said, take care and don't work too hard tonight. Yes, I got work tonight, and my daughter-in-law is having surgery in the morning, so it's going to be a very, very long day tomorrow. Alright, guys, love you all. Take care. See you next week on Wednesday. Bye, guys.